Hi. Hey, good morning.
Morning, Jay.
Yeah.
Same question I asked the guys was, game ones haven't been great to this team, even though you have 2 series wins. How much are you circling this one in terms of maybe changing something, preparation, or something to not have the kind of starts you've had to series in the first 2?
Yeah, certainly those are facts that we didn't come out with the wins in game number 1, but we were in both games. Both of them were tied in the third period. For us, we look at every inch of film, every inch of preparation, and see what we can do better. It's just what we do. And in the end, we want to make sure that we're ready to play game number 1 here on Tuesday night. And that started today with a little bit of practice. And we're going to carry it into our following practices and our preparation. We will be ready.
Jay, I look back to that game you played against Colorado. I think it was on trade deadline day. And to me, it seemed about as fast and intense and hard-hitting a game as you'd had. Seemed to maybe bring something out in your group. Would you agree with kind of the way that night went?
Yeah, I thought it was a great hockey game that night. I also thought every game we've played against Colorado this year has been a good game. 2 good teams, lots of skill on the ice, great pace. That first game was no different. But like I said, all 3 games I thought were really well played and entertaining for the fans.
Colorado can bring a pretty significant level of speed at you. How do you think your group is equipped to kind of handle the speed, whether it's a McKinnon or a Makar or those guys that are really high-octane skaters?
Yeah, dynamic skaters. Yeah, I think we're equipped well. We're here for a reason. I think we played Colorado well throughout the year. They have some natural gifts, and we have some natural gifts. And certainly as we weave our way through this series here, they're going to have some moments, but we'll have good moments as well. And we're going to do some things to try and prepare our team for that level of speed and skill that'll be on the ice.
Jay, did you learn anything about your team in those 2 series? They're completely different series, had to navigate them, find ways to win those games. Is there anything that surprised you about your group at all that maybe you didn't know?
Not surprised, but I think we did learn a lot about our team over those 2 series. And you hit the nail on the head, Tom. At this time of year, I think you have to be prepared to win in different fashions. And you know, we found our way against a really tight checking, neutral zone specific team in LA to grind our way through. Didn't always go perfectly. We had to come through a little bit of adversity in that series, and then to go in and beat your arch rival in 5 games in some pretty interesting fashions, you know what I mean? Like to be able to do it. And both of those teams represented different challenges, and for us to find our way, and you use the word navigate, I like that word, to navigate our way through each series, which was completely different, I think that serves us well, because it strengthens or hardens our belief that we do have the people in our locker room that can get it done, and we can get it done in different ways.
Hey Jay, I just want to ask you about, is Nate MacKinnon maybe the best comparable to Connor McDavid? Are those 2 guys kind of similar players, or how do you kind of see Nate MacKinnon and trying to game plan for him?
Yeah, well, I think I've had the opportunity to coach MacKinnon on 2 different occasions, once at the 2015 World Championships and once at the 2016 World Cup of Hockey. So I have a good understanding of what he brings to the table. I think, you know, obviously a powerful skater, likes to wind it up, drives his team emotionally, and is, you know, a very, very good hockey player, and he's certainly will feature in our game plan and in terms of, you know, doing the best we can here to take away some of their strengths.
in your experience, you watch these high-end players, and they kind of admire each other. Do they seem to feed off each other? Like if one guy does one thing one night, then the other, it'll motivate the other guy, kind of like a Larry Bird, Magic Johnson thing back in the 80s when they talked about, one would see what one did one night, then that would kind of motivate Larry to take 50 shots the next day type thing. Do you see that at this level as well?
You know what, I don't know if it happens from the night to night, but I know that in my experience in the NHL, usually the best players in the world get really geared up when they're playing the other best players in the world. It's just, we're in a business where naturally everybody is ultra competitive and you want to show well. And when the other team has some really high-end players, you want to make sure that everybody's on their game. And that doesn't just go to our high-end players, it goes to our team in general. I think when you're playing a top team like we're about to, and top players like we're about to, everybody's antenna is up. Everybody's on their toes and alert, and everyone knows that in order for us to get to where we want to get to, we need everybody firing on all cylinders.
You just got asked about McKinnon, and of course you have McDavid and Draisaitl as among the premier players in the league. What can you say about their ability to bring out their best on the biggest stage at the most crucial moments, and how they're able to separate themselves from being good to great to otherworldly?
Yeah, well, certainly through the first two rounds of this playoff run, they've been elite. I think that is what separates the best players in the world from some really good players in the NHL. It's the ability to elevate at critical times. And I think at this time of year, the one thing that you see is an emphasis on checking, an emphasis on having to fight through things in order to have success. What I know about both of those players that doesn't get talked about enough is that they're elite teammates. They're great teammates. They're driven to win. They're prepared to sacrifice some things in order to have team success. And I think that's what we're seeing. The numbers speak for themselves, but I think what we're seeing here is some young men that are driven to do whatever it takes to win.
Jay, Cale Makar can push the pace from the back end like perhaps nobody else, no other defenseman in the league. What are some of the unique challenges that he presents for defending that?
Well, I mean, I think he's a threat in all three zones. Likes to wind it up, similar to McKinnon. Joins the rush, leads the rush, supports the rush. Is really good through the neutral zone. In the offensive zone, he's not just someone who's going to stand on the offensive blue line and hope the puck comes to him. He's somebody that makes things happen, and there has to be an awareness and alertness when he's on the ice surface. He's a heck of a player. We'll talk about, we're mentioning some of the players on both teams here. I think the National Hockey League's in a really good spot with players like that.
Clearly, you have some players who are playing very well and deserve a lot of ice time. But I know you've been very conscious of, including everybody. You've had a couple games where Kassian and Archibald have been under 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. Is that a product of the game flow, their performance? How do you manage it with them? Yeah,
I mean, we were talking about good teammates. Those two guys, wow. Great teammates, give us everything that they have on a nightly basis. I think sometimes the way the game plays out, that's just the way the game plays out sometimes. If, we're in Calgary, the last couple games, they played 11-7. Realistically, they played 9, maybe 10 forwards in that situation. And sometimes you're just reacting to what you see. And the good thing for us is that we know we have a lot of really good hockey players. And, whether you play 4 minutes or 24 on our team, your contribution is valued. And they're a big reason why we're in round number 3.
Obviously, the big...
I can hear you.
Sure. The most important thing at this time of year is the small picture, right? You always...
Yeah.
staying in the day, but here you are, you're in the Final Four. There's only one game a night. You're one round away from the Stanley Cup final. How do you see that situation being absorbed in the dressing room? Are the guys better equipped to handle it now because of the last two rounds, or is this something new because it's a conference final?
Well, you look at our group. I mean, we have a pretty eclectic group of players and eclectic level of experiences amongst our group. You have some players who are playing in their first playoff games this playoffs, and then you have Mike Smith. He's 40 years old. He's been in the conference finals twice in his career. That's how special it is to be in this position. We're aware of that. We are aware of that. It doesn't happen every year. You're not entitled to go to the Final Four every year. So we want to take full advantage, and we want to play towards our full potential. But I think you mentioned it. You talked about keeping the pitcher small, and that has been something that we've been saying since the middle of February. So I think that type of mindset has been ingrained in us, that we just want to take care of the day's business. We want to block all the outside noise out and make sure that we're taking care of the details that will lead us to be successful. And that's, as I said, we've been doing that for 3 months or so.
Hi, Jay.
Hi.
The two games in the series against Colorado that did not go the Oilers' way were settled in 3-on-3 and in shootout. And obviously that won't be the case in this next round.
Yep.
Knowing that maybe provides you a little bit more confidence in a series where you are going against the team that won the Western Conference.
Yeah, I think what those 3 games showed our team, especially at that time, was that we were a team that could, play with the best in the league. Colorado at that time was fighting for the President's Trophy. So they were at the top of the league, and by us playing the way we did in those games, it showed that we have what it takes to play with the best in the league. And I think in some of those games, it comes down to an extra play made either way. And so for us, we know the challenge that's before us. The league has narrowed again. We've just gone from 8 teams, now we're down to 5 teams right now. Eventually it will get down to 4 teams. The league got better. We're gonna need to get better. And that's what our aim is here over the next couple days. Good, thanks guys.